Welcome back to another episode of the Bad Influence Podcast. I am Jordan Banderas, and before we begin, remember to hit that follow or subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my episodes. On today's episode, I want to start with this. Do you feel healthy? Do you feel like you can go to the doctor and get the medications that you need, that the doctor is listening to you, that you're going to get the care you need? The reason why I'm asking is because I was asked recently what's wrong with the healthcare system. And if you're dealing with this mess of a system, you will know that it's not easy to navigate through. It's actually a big mess. So on today's episode, I actually want to talk about this because I have been dealing with this for the past almost 7 years. And let me tell you, it's not easy. You have to go through loops. You have to fight insurance. You have to figure out if you can afford your medications. I'm not the one that is sick, like I have talked about multiple times. My wife is the one that unfortunately has health issues, and we have to go see a lot of doctors, a lot of specialists. She needs a lot of medication. So all those bills add up, and it is expensive. So a lot of people are dealing with this right now, and they don't understand why the system, this particular healthcare system, sucks. And if you're healthy, you may think that the healthcare system is going to take care of you in the event that you get sick. Well, let's dive into this because I want you to understand what you're going to have to go through in the event that you get sick. So first of all, I created this list of everything that is wrong on the healthcare system based on my own experience that I have seen. Okay, so first of all, and I want to ask you this, and hopefully somebody has the answer. I want to hear your answer for some of the questions I'm going to ask throughout the episode on the comments because I want to know your opinion. And the question that I have is, why is healthcare a for-profit system? I know that you have to make a profit in order for you to make more medications or develop certain things that will help people stay healthy, right? But sometimes it feels and it seems like it's just pure greed. You're developing all of these medications or all of these devices that can actually help people live longer, but you're charging a ton of money and you're making a lot of profit. You're making like 100 times profit, right? And it's not fair for the customer. I mean, in this case, the client, not the client, the patient, which I guess pharmaceuticals and hospitals and doctors do see us as clients, and they do see us as not patients but customers, because they're trying to sell us health. That's why it feels like that they're trying to sell us health. And then instead of keeping the patient healthy, they're actually sending you bills for the most dumbest things, like for needles, for this, for that. And then you have to go through the actual insurance. You have to go to insurance and see if they're going to cover that. And if they don't cover it, then you have to pay out of pocket. And if you have to pay out of pocket, that's going to hurt your budget. And especially right now with everything that's going on with the economy, that actually hurts your household. So it's a whole system that eats you up. And in my opinion, that should be criminal, because I believe that healthcare should be universal, should be free. I will gladly pay more taxes if it's necessary just to have a healthcare system that will not make me go bankrupt, just to have a healthcare system and be able to go to a doctor that will listen to me and ask me the right questions, just to have a healthcare system that whenever I need a medication, either for me or for my wife, I can just go get it at the pharmacy and not having to figure out where it's going to be cheaper. And also, I want a healthcare system that will allow me to literally maintain my financial security. Because when you have surgery, when you have to get medical devices or whatever, those bills add up a lot, especially per month. For a year, there's people that spend $12,000 on medication. $12,000. That's a lot. And I want to share this with you guys because prescriptions right now are so expensive. They're exorbitant. Their prices are sky high. It's like, well, if I'm going to take this pill that is like $60 per pill, it better fucking work. It better do what it's supposed to. I saw the TV commercial. It says that it's going to keep me healthy. It's going to reduce, let's say, my A1C, or it's going to lower my blood pressure. It better do it. It better make me feel like I'm a teen. That's how I see it, right? But here's what I was able to find in regards to prescriptions. Prescriptions actually have, or in this case, the drugs, have a patent for 20 years. And that is from the date that it is filed. Which means that when the patent is valid, there won't be any generics made until the patent owner agrees. One of the drugs that I was looking into was Lipitor, which is a blood pressure medicine. I remember this particular medication being on TV commercials a lot when I was growing up. It was pretty much all over, like Lipitor. If you had high blood pressure, take Lipitor. Ask your doctor about Lipitor. I don't know if you remember, if you're old enough to remember. But here's what I found, okay? A drug like this can cost up to $2 billion to develop. That takes a lot of time, a lot of years, a lot of research, right? $2 billion. That's a lot of money. However, when the patent was active, Pfizer, the drug manufacturer, made $113 billion from 2001 to 2011. That's a lot of money from a $2 billion investment. They went more than 10x, like 20x. They got so many profits. I mean, so much profit out of this particular medication that there's companies, like Fortune 500 companies, that don't make that in their entire life while the company is open. So just to tell that, this just shows you how prescriptions is a big business. And the problem that I see, especially after my wife got sick, is that this is happening with a lot of drugs that people need to survive, and people can't afford them because the prices are exorbitant. The prices are like $1,000 per month, something like that. And people need those medications. The insurance won't pay for them because guess what? It's too expensive for them. So people are having to deal with this kind of bullshit on our healthcare system. And the other problem that I see with drug manufacturers is that they're developing multiple drugs for the same issue. There's one manufacturer, the makers of Ubrelvy, I don't remember the name of it, of the manufacturer, but they have two different prescriptions that target migraines. The only thing that changes is one ingredient, but it's practically the same. Same thing with Ozempic and Wegovy. It's made by the same manufacturer. They have the same active ingredient. Only one thing changes. And they're making a shit ton of money. So you're telling me that this manufacturers, these pharmaceuticals, are literally churning out drugs that are pretty much the same and charging $1,000 for that prescription, even though there's another one that they make doing the same, that can do the same thing. So that's just, yeah, that to me shows you that this is just pure greed. And people may argue with me. They may say, "Oh, it's capitalism." Well, yeah, we do need capitalism to fund those type of research, but in the end, it's like, who's suffering? Not the people making the profit, not the investors of those companies, not the CEO, but the patient that is actually helping them make those profits. So that's my first point. But and another thing that it's wrong with the healthcare system, and this is the worst thing that you will ever have to deal with, and it pisses me off every time I go see a doctor with my wife, is that doctors don't have the time to spend with you. They try to rush you throughout the appointment. They want to see you, they want to charge you a lot of money, but they only have like 10 minutes just to see you, because unfortunately sometimes they have to see like 20-30 patients in 1 hour. Sometimes they have to see 100 patients in one day. I've seen it. There's a clinic here in Salt Lake that literally told their doctors that they have to see like 80 patients in a day. Now you tell me how that is going to help the patient. It's not. And one thing that I have seen with my wife is that, let's say you go to the doctor, okay? They see you the first time. Then you have a follow-up appointment. Let's say like weeks or even a month later, right? Even like 1 or 2 months later. So you go to that follow-up appointment. The doctor asks you, "Oh, what's new?" Well, you're trying to comprise 2 months or a few weeks of whatever is happening with your health into 5 minutes. You don't have the time to do that. You're gonna miss key points you're gonna miss key points that the actual doctor has to listen to and needs to hear, because the doctor is rushing you. So you're not getting the care you need, and you're not gonna get the help you need because the doctor doesn't know exactly what's going on. So what they do now is like, okay, your head hurts, you're having migraines, take this medication. Your blood pressure is high, take this medication. So they're just prescribing medications to actually treat the symptom, but not find the root cause of the issue. That's the big problem with the healthcare system right now. My third point on this episode is that, why? Somebody answer me this. Why does getting sick mean going into bankruptcy, even with insurance? Because what's happening right now, and I've seen it with seniors, there was a report about this, that seniors are not taking their medications, they're skipping doses just so they can actually afford the medication, or not having to refill the medication as often as they need to. So that actually is going to hurt you. And also, people don't go to the doctor because they don't want to get the bill. Because once you get the bill, your whole budget is going to be fucked. Your whole budget is going to take a hit. Because when you go see a doctor, and let's say you need x-rays or a CT scan or whatever, because of whatever health issue you have, you get the bill and you have to pay hundreds of dollars for that x-ray or for that CT scan. And when you see it, is like, what did they do? All they did is give me an x-ray. All they did is give me a CT scan and see if there's like this particular issue, let's say like an ulcer or something, right? Why am I getting like almost $1,000 worth on charges? Like, when you hear things like that, when you have gone to something like that, next time you feel sick, you're going to be like, I'll rather wait. And that's causing a problem, because at one point, and it's happening right now, there's already been a study that people that skip going to the doctor because they feel sick, and later in life they decide to go to the doctor because the symptoms get worse, they end up getting no help, because sometimes they get diagnosed with, let's say, cancer stage 4, or they get all these diagnoses that unfortunately it's too late for the medicine to do anything. But I totally get it though, why people do it. It's because they're afraid and scared of not being able to afford either the medications or the medical bills. And if you're not paying in cash, your insurance is not going to help you, and obviously that's going to hurt your budget again. This is why I get so passionate about healthcare, because it's so messed up. And in the long run, in the long term, the people that are suffering from medical debt and all of these things are actually hurting the economy, because what happens is that people are not able to go to work. Employers are having to find other employees to cover those that employer that is, or the employee that is sick. And when the employee has to retire early because of a disability or anything like that due to the illness, it also hurts the economy, because more and more people are going to start doing that. And not because of entitlement or anything like that. It's because they're getting sick. They can't work, just like what happened with my wife. She had to retire from working. She can't work because of her health issues, and there's no medication that is actually going to help her and cure her. And there's no doctor that is going to be able to look at her right now and say, like, this is what we need to do, unless we pay cash. There are so many tests out there that can actually help my wife determine what is going on and how we can help her. But those tests are not covered by the insurance because they are expensive. There are tests that are worth like $10,000. And I will gladly pay it if I had the money. So, in my opinion, healthcare is becoming a rich person's system. Because unless you can afford it, you're fucked. Literally, you are fucked. Another point that I want to bring into today's episode is, do politicians ever do anything besides bicker and pass half-baked laws that only benefit a special interest? The answer, it looks like, it's no. And I'm not being partisan or anything like that. Just pay attention on everything that's happening with politics. Anytime somebody tries to touch healthcare, there's a big fight. It can be because of the Affordable Care Act, which it helped people. It wasn't perfect, but they could have made it perfect. Or there's no regulation when it comes to prescription pricing or anything like that. So there's not a lot of regulation in the healthcare system because of the for-profit system. That's what's causing this huge problem. And because of this, I believe that it's time for the politicians to prioritize the well-being of us, the citizens, the patients, the people that actually vote for them, the people that go to town halls and go to their rallies and cheer for them. Because what they're doing right now with the healthcare system is that they're leaving seniors, veterans, and anybody who can't afford to pay cash high and dry with no help. Literally. When my wife got sick first, the medical bills were soul crushing. They were coming in hot. Literally, it was one after the other. At one point, it was like $100,000. And that's after insurance. The insurance didn't want to pay a lot of it. So we had to fight. We had to literally fight a system that works against you. And politicians are not doing shit about it. They're just bickering, they're just fighting. They're like, oh, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. But then you have all those lobbies, all that lobbying that is like, oh, if you touch healthcare, I'm not going to help you get reelected, or you're not going to get all these gifts, And I'm talking the truth. I'm speaking the truth because you can see it. They're not touching certain things because of all the lobby that goes behind it. All that lobbying that pharmaceuticals and hospitals have that are paying off politicians, and politicians are literally turning a blind eye on the issues with the healthcare system. And due to all of this shit that is not regulated, and it looks like it may never be regulated, I want to ask this too. Why can't we buy medicine from wherever it's cheapest and safest without jumping through hoops and feeling like criminals? It's time. I believe that it's time, and I say this to politicians if anybody's listening. It's time for you guys to create a system that works for the patients, not against them, not against us, the voters, like I said. And the reason why I say this is because my shitty insurance is literally having us to order prescriptions for my wife from Canada. My wife needs a prescription that it's around like $1,000 a month. It's nothing to lose weight. It's actually to keep her alive. It's to prevent blood clots. Okay? If she doesn't take that medication, she could have a blood clot. She could have, a heart attack. There's so many things that could happen with a blood clot. Well, this fucking insurance doesn't give a fuck. They're like, it's too expensive. We don't cover it at all. We have had other insurances that did cover it. We only had to pay the max. I think it was like $80. Well, with this insurance that we have right now, they're like, nope, we don't cover it. It's too expensive for us. But what we can do is that we work with a pharmacy in Canada that you can order from. We cover the whole thing. See, we cover the whole thing in Canada, but not in the US. That's fucked up. So they cover the whole thing in Canada. So we have to order it and wait for us to get in the mail. Now, this month, actually, we got the medication 3 days late. And like I said, if my wife doesn't take that medication, there's going to be more health problems. So my question is like, what the fuck is that about? What the fuck is that all about? Like, oh, I don't cover the medication here in the US, but I cover the medication in Canada. If you order from Canada, I will cover the whole fucking thing. But if you want it here in the States, you can go to your local CVS, your local pharmacy, your Walgreens, or whatever. It's too expensive. It's too damn expensive, so I won't be able to cover it. That's what pisses me off about this fucking system. And that's why I get so pissed off at politicians, because it's like, okay, motherfucker, you have healthcare paid by the taxpayers. You don't have to worry about not affording your prescriptions. You don't have to worry about anything. Everything is covered for you thanks to our taxes. But yet, the people that pay your healthcare get the shittiest healthcare in the world, probably. The US healthcare system is worse than other countries. Google it. Literally. And it pisses me off because I see my wife suffering because of it. And imagine you having to deal with that as well. And it could happen to you. You could be getting sick and you're gonna get a taste of it. You could see your kid, your spouse, your parents, somebody close to you getting sick, and they're gonna go through all these hoops. Especially when they're older, it's gonna be a bigger problem for you, because then you're gonna have to deal with insurance for them. They don't have the energy. They're sick. They literally gonna depend on you because of how fucked up the system is. So that's gonna take time away from you from doing other things. So the healthcare system is gonna create bigger problems if it doesn't get fixed. So, in my opinion, it's evident that our healthcare system is screwed up. No, it's more than screwed up. It's fucked up. And something needs to change. And it needs to change fast. Because another thing that is happening right now is that doctors are demanding better pay, which I totally understand. Nurses, like all these staffing shortages that are happening in the healthcare system with hospitals and clinics, it's hurting the patients. And that's because all these hospitals or these big corporations, I don't even know if they can be called hospitals now. They act like corporations. They're thinking about the profit, and they're actually reducing pay on some cases. And nurses have to deal with a lot of people. Doctors have to deal with a lot of people, and they decide to quit. There's a reason why a lot of actual nurses quit and decided to do OnlyFans. Literally, nurses decided to go into porn because it pays better. How fucked up is that? What are they doing, the people in power or the people that can actually fix this? What are they doing to prevent that? Because with no nurses, no doctors, who's gonna take care of you? We need to take care of each other in this case. We need to speak up, vote. And when I say vote, I'm not saying that you have to vote for a specific party or anything like that, because I can't even vote. There's an immigration delay due to staffing shortages that is going to prevent me from voting on the next election. So I'm going to be able to vote until 2028. So right now, I'm not even partisan or anything like that. This is not political. It's just like you have to figure out who's going to take care of your healthcare needs, which candidate can fix the healthcare system and has an actual plan on how to do it and how to bring everybody on the table and be like, you know what, motherfuckers? We need to fix this. We need to stop bickering. We need to stop literally fighting with each other. We need to take care of our voters, the American citizen, the ones that actually go to work and pay their taxes. And you also need to protest if you need to. You need to organize. We need to organize. We need to protest. And we need to educate ourselves and others about what we can do, about how we can actually beat this system that is working against us. Because, again, if we don't take care of each other, who will? The healthcare system is not going to do it. Politicians are not going to do it. So obviously, we have to rely on each other. And that's what I wanted to share on today's episode. Thank you for listening, for the growth, for the feedback. And remember to share, like, and subscribe. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The links are available in the episode's description. And here are my final thoughts. The healthcare system is so bad that sometimes it feels better to just die. And if you want to send me any questions that you want me to answer on the podcast, you can email them to me at bjordanthebadinfluence@gmail.com, or you can send me a DM on social media. And have a great day.